to take Yellow Moccasin as his squaw and to adopt Silent Tongue as their son.
Interesting facts about famous people.
Fun facts about classic westerns. After making so many videos now on the western genre, I have managed to collect many facts about westerns. Some you may know, some not so much. Today we will take a look at some fun facts on the classic western era. If you enjoyed this video, hit the notification button to get my new videos. If you want to check out my many other videos, head over to my channel. The link's in the description. Let's get into it. The Great Train Robbery. The first western that was one of the first films ever to use modern filmmaking techniques. Running at 12 minutes, The Great Train Robbery tells the story of, well, spoiler alert, of a great train robbery, possibly inspired by the actual train robbery committed by Butch Cassidy just 3 years before. Cripple Creek barroom scene. Even though The Great Train Robbery was the first western film, it was not the first time a western scene was depicted on screen. In 1899, James White directed Cripple Creek barroom scene, a 1-minute scene of a Colorado saloon which established many of the tropes of the western genre. The world's first feature film was a western, 1906. Not only was the world's first feature film a western, but a kangaroo western, a western made in Australia, also known as a meat pie western. I know the traditional western fan will be disregarding this film. On Boxing Day 1906, the story of the Kelly Gang opened at the Athenaeum Theatre in Melbourne, the first multi-reel feature-length film ever produced in the world. Bronco Billy. The first of the western stars was Bronco Billy Anderson. Bronco played 3 roles in The Great Train Robbery. From 1910 to 1919, he starred in more than 400 Bronco Billy serials with names like Bronco Billy and the Rustler's Child and Bronco Billy's Narrow Escape. (1939) was considered one of the best years in film history. That was the year of Gone with the Wind, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and The Wizard of Oz. It was also a particularly good year for westerns, with studios granting more and more of their budget to western movies. 1939 saw the release of Union Pacific, Jesse James, and perhaps the first great western film, Stagecoach. Stagecoach, an important film for many reasons. Not only was it one of the most costly westerns made at this time, it was also John Wayne's breakthrough role. Stagecoach was also directed by iconic western director John Ford, his first sound film. The first time John Ford directed John Wayne in a starring role. Wayne and Ford would collaborate for the next 25 years, making 25 films, including Fort Apache, The Searchers, and How the West Was Won. Remade as a TV movie in 1986, it starred Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson.
My dear friend, you can't compare.
The Duke. John Wayne's real name was Marion Michael, sometimes Robert, according to Wikipedia anyway, Morrison. In need of something a little tougher, he was credited in his first movie as Duke Morrison. John Wayne was later selected for him by the head of Fox Studios. Wayne had no say in what his name would be, but who does? Wayne owed his film persona to the Wild West legend Wyatt Earp. Wayne claimed to have been introduced to Earp by Western movie star Tom Mix, who, like John Ford, was a close friend of the legendary lawman. Wayne also drew his persona from Yakima Canutt, a rodeo rider and Hollywood stuntman. Wayne picked up horsemanship from Canutt, despite Wayne never really liking horses. Together, the two invented the standard form of screen fighting that actors still use today. Wayne was part of the John Ford Stock Company, a collection of actors Ford regularly used in his westerns. The company included Henry Fonda, Harry Carey, and Wayne's best friend, Ward Bond. Some of the company made as many as 40 films for Ford. John Ford, a lesser-known member of Ford's company, was Chief John Bigtree, a member of the Seneca Nation. Bigtree claimed to have been the model for the Indian head nickel. Ford won 6 Academy Awards over the course of his career, including 4 for Best Director. Strangely, none of them were westerns. Ford loved filming in Monument Valley, Utah, filming 7 of his most successful movies there, including The Searchers and Stagecoach. Red River. In 1948, John Wayne starred in Red River. This time, Wayne worked with director Howard Hawks instead of his frequent collaborator, John Ford. After seeing Wayne's performance, Ford remarked, "I never knew that son of a bee could act." When Red River finished shooting, Hawks gave Wayne a belt buckle with the logo of the Red River D, the cattle brand of the ranch from the movie. Wayne can be seen wearing the buckle in his later movies, including El Dorado. Hollywood Indians. Often, Native Americans were portrayed as the antagonists in westerns. Their lives and cultures were rarely represented accurately. Cultures and languages were often mixed in a confusing way. Even worse, the main roles almost never went to actual Indians. Charles Bronson, Burt Lancaster, and Rock Hudson played lead or supporting roles as Native Americans in westerns. Historical characters. Maybe more than any other genre, westerns have relied on historical events and characters for storytelling. Wyatt Earp has been portrayed in more than 40 films. Billy the Kid has been in more than 60, including a 42-film series that ran from 1940 to 1946. Westerns don't always strive to be an accurate depiction of the Old West. The Searchers, for example, is rife with temporarily out-of-place objects. Set in 1868, it shows characters using aluminium pots, riveted jeans, and sunglasses, none of which have been invented. In one scene, a car is even visible in the background. High Noon. Gary Cooper's career was declining when he was cast in the role of Will Kane in High Noon. The role had already been offered to John Wayne, Gregory Peck, Charlton Heston, Burt Lancaster, Marlon Brando, Kirk Douglas, and Montgomery Clift. All turned it down. High Noon was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards that year. Cooper won Best Actor. How the West Was Won. In 1960, MGM Studios attempted to make a massive Western epic in the style of Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments. The result was How the West Was Won, a 4-part, 2.5-hour history of the West. It cost an incredible $15 million, a huge amount for the time, and starred more than 20 major Hollywood stars. The cast of How the West Was Won included Henry Fonda, John Wayne, Gregory Peck, Carl Malden, Jimmy Stewart, and Debbie Reynolds. Each part of the movie's 4 parts were directed by a different director, most notably John Ford. During the scene on a logging train in How the West Was Won, stuntman Bob Morgan lost his leg. After years of recuperation, he returned to acting, landing a role as a peg-legged pirate in the movie Swashbuckler. Spaghetti westerns. While westerns were falling out of fashion stateside, a generation of Italian directors began experimenting with the western genre. These spaghetti westerns, as they've come to be called, borrowed imagery and plot points from American westerns, turning up the violence, becoming hugely popular. The spaghetti westerns also provided work for washed-up or unknown actors. The most successful of these was Clint Eastwood, but Charles Bronson, Burt Reynolds, Henry Fonda, and scores of others appeared in spaghetti westerns in the late 60s and 70s. Director Sergio Leone is synonymous with the spaghetti western. Leone is best known for the Dollars trilogy. The three films, A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, starred Clint Eastwood and have earned nearly $55 million since the trilogy's completion in 1966. The iconic music of Leone's spaghetti westerns was composed by Italian composer Ennio Morricone. The main theme, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, actually made it to number 4 on the Billboard pop charts in 1968. John Wayne's 50-year career came to an end in 1976. In his final film, The Shootist, he plays an aging gunfighter dying of cancer. Wayne himself succumbed to the disease 3 years later. While the classic western fell out of favour in the 1960s and 70s, directors still turned to the western as a genre exercise. This led to an explosion of western subgenres, like the space western, think Star Wars, and the acid western, a surreal, psychedelic take on spaghetti westerns. Okay, that's it for this installment of Classic Western Facts. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate likes, shares and subscribers. Don't forget to hit the notification button to get my new videos. Drop me your comments. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.